Welcome to another edition of Kilo Dreams. My name is Steve David, I'm your host. And joining me on the set today, I've got Akila Marlon.
Yes,
And Akila is one of our top women soccer players. Welcome, Akila.
thanks.
And I also have Narada Wilson. Narada is one of our top agents. Welcome, Narada.
Pleasure to be here.
All right. Today we're going to try to talk about more about women football in Trinidad and Tobago, and the state of the women football, and also we're going to try to talk about the professional league that supposedly is going to be coming pretty soon. So to start, Akila, why don't you tell our viewing audience about yourself and where did it all start for you?
Well, I hail from Chagonas, Trinidad, in a place known as Lamont Street, Londonville. And it started there for me around 16 years ago. I started football at the age of 14, playing with the guys in the neighborhood. You know, they never turned their back on me. They always encouraged me to play the game. And there I started with those guys there. I come from a family of 5. My mom, dad, and my brother. I'm a twin. I have a twin brother. He plays professional cricket in England, Canada. Now he plays here. He plays at Esmeralda Cricket Club. And I think growing up, just being able to compete against each other to see how far both of us could reach in our career also help extend my career in that way, because we were always trying to outdo each other. Let's see how far we could reach in our career. So I think that and all was a driving force to where I am today. From there, I was seen to play on the national team around 15, made the national team, and just never looked back. Got a scholarship, went first to junior college, Young Harris College in the US. I studied there, I got my associate degree there in science, and then I graduated 3 years after at University of South Carolina. I got my bachelor's there in psychology and minor in physical education. When I look at my collegiate career, I would say it was the one that God really blessed me with, because if you look at the areas that I mentioned where I received my degrees, is in the South in the US where racism was really high, and for me to be able to go there as a black, coming from a tiny place. I remember people asking me on campus if we just use box cart to drive around Trinidad. I look at them like, if they really come and see some of the cars, they'll be like, they will wonder if they're still in the US, you know. Right. But being there and being one of the blacks and being there as on a full scholarship, because remember, you're going in and taking something that they deemed is theirs, you know. You're coming and taking a scholarship away from one of their citizens. So you now had to be on your guard and to give off your best. And I think that also helped drive me to the person that I am and as a player today. From there, I was seen to go to Europe, where I've been applying my trade for the last 6 years. I played 1 year in Iceland, 5 years in Sweden. Sweden has its own challenges in the sense that the temperature, the climate, the people, the food, everything. So I think when you look at my footballing career, it's been one of many challenges, but sometimes God placed in your heart that determination to continue to put yourself out there in order to open up doors for the younger ones coming in Trinidad. So for me, that is somewhat my part that leads me to sitting down, or having the honor to sit down here to share that.
And I want the public to know as well, you were the first woman professional soccer player that we had in this country.
Yeah, well, by pen to paper, yeah.
And that's kudos to you, and that's good.
Yes.
I am impressed, and I am impressed only not because you that good, but also because you're a striker like I were, and we'll have a lot to discuss and talk about during this segment. Narada, what do you think about the state of football in Trinidad and Tobago? Women's football I'm talking about.
I think The women's football, it has been a process over the years, but it's something that at this moment we have to capitalize on, or I should say, even the moment going recently, because over the years, it's been developing, but we haven't highlighted a lot of things in previous times. And recently, we actually had a game that had 22,000 people. So I think from 22,000 people, you only have up to go. You can't go back down. Players like Aquila, the national team's captain, and the other players who've had experience abroad, whether in some smaller capacity or not, need to be highlighted, and we need people to see them. One of the main things and one of the main reasons that pushed me to sign in Aquila was the fact that when you look at her CV, we have a girl that has been playing for 5+ years professionally in Europe, and a lot of people don't even know that. And that is something to see someone make a living, whether it be build a house, buy a car, off playing football. We always allocate that to the men's side of the game. So it was really important for me to highlight somebody like her to show that that is what a woman can do. And there are actually more scholarships open for women to study in the States playing football. It's actually easier for them. But a lot of them aren't taking the opportunity and aren't moving on to the next step. A lot of our national team players at the moment, we probably should have looked at opportunities of getting them professional contracts abroad, taking some of the money that they earned or whatever the government passed on to them and using it as some sort of incentive to clubs abroad, saying, hey, we may probably pay half their salary if you cover the other half. So the players just are always in that concert environment. Aquila played 9 months last year in Sweden. What was 23, 25 games, 13 goals, 10 assists, MVPs. How many of them actually played that for the last season? And she's been doing that for 5 to 6 years consecutively.
Akila, you know anything about our league, our women's league in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, I know
What do you
there's.
think about it? Yeah.
I know there's a Wolf League that has been existent for a number of years. I think for me, when I look at first the Wolf League, I mean, sometimes the standard mightn't be up to par, but I just wanted to come down hard on it in the sense that it actually still provides an opportunity for females to continue to play. I mean, the standard mightn't be where it should be, but at least it's an avenue where these players could still come and show what they give until better comes. I think there's a proposed league that's going to be starting pretty soon, and maybe with the caliber players they're looking to bring in, plus the players that you have here already, maybe you will see a higher standard. But for now, when I look at the Wolf League, at least there's an avenue where these girls and them from secondary school could still have a place where they could play.
So, what do you think we need to do to make our league better? I know there's a proposed professional league coming in, and we'll talk about that a little later on. But tell me what you think our league needs today to make it better.
From my experience, I could only go off on my experience, but it all boils down to having a good support system, meaning everybody have to be in it 100%. Where it be marketing, where it be players, identification of players, going in rural areas, picking up these players, because some of the most talented players are unseen, because we don't take time to go out there and identify them or actually reach out to them. Because I remember when I first came to the national team or playing, I remember they said nothing good came out of Central. No footballer good came out of Central. And that actually motivated me to show them, hey, there's someone, yeah, it did. Because if everybody have that idea or thinking, then when they go for recruitments of players and stuff, they might not want to touch Central. So what I'm saying is that we need everybody to be first on the same page to where we want the women game to go.
Right.
Because you can have a vision, and I have a vision, Norad have a vision, and this one have a vision, and not all our vision leading down the same path, So first we have to have that vision and mission statement where we want it to go, and then have the workers or the manpower to then put it into effect, whether it be marketing, whether it be, as I say, identification of players. You must have resources, getting the public, because I don't think we do enough to promote the game. Even when I look at the professional league here, we don't do enough. Sometimes I don't even know when there's a professional league game. And they don't already have how to say, they already have a mental block about how the women game is. Imagine the block they have for the guys. So we now have to work extra hard if we really want to promote the women game. Because the men game here in Trinidad is already not so up to par. Imagine how extra hard we are to,
Right.
you know, gain the
Right.
interest of the public for the female game. So I think really, really, really going out there and selling the game, and as Narada rightfully say, December 2nd was a great opportunity thereafter to really, really, really push it. And I don't think that we did enough after that to really continue to sell the women game.
What's your take on that, Narada?
Yeah, we allowed the boat to pass. I think with the women's side of the game, with the professional side in men, it's always about the, let's put it this way, if it's about the lime or whatever, that is great. I think the woman is always focused more around the world as a family event. You know, something that a mother could take her son and her daughter to watch the game. It is what happens in Sweden. There are a lot of families that are out there watching the football. So as you were saying, the Wolf League and what the proposed professional league, they need to take two different avenues. Wolf is supposed to be there to develop younger players, be a fun activity, you know, a family affair. And the professional side, we could probably do with bringing in the players as they proposed and having a higher standard of football until we close the gap. But if the end result is not the same, I think both parties have to have two completely different mission statements. But in the end, to promote the female side of the game. You have the players here right now, and they haven't been playing consistently for the last few months. I read articles that said, 5 months, whatever the case is. How do you take players from filling a stadium of 22,000 and think 5 months down the road doing nothing, they're probably going to have even 5,000 people in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need to do is take people like Akila and one or two of the others who have the experience and probably sit down and incorporate them in something like this. Because if not, if we miss them who've done it, we probably may not see the other batch ever reaching that level to do it again because they don't have anything in place for them. So it's really a tough sell because the women's game is already at a disadvantage. But I also believe that the public, due to the name that the men got, the public is there waiting for something new, and that is what the women's game offers.
Okay, at this point we need to take a break. Viewers, we'll be right back after this short break, and we'll talk about the professional league when we come back, the new professional league that's proposed.
Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited offers solutions to your immediate and future potential problem areas by providing you with a qualified team of safety consultants. Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited, building a reputation on quality and value since 1999. Located 23 Todd Street, San Fernando, Trinidad. Phone 868-657-1534 or 868-788-6955. worldwidesafety@yahoo.com.
Welcome back, viewers, to Field of Dreams. Before the break, we were discussing women's football, and we were just discussing what we think about the new proposed professional league that's going to be coming in a month or so, or 2 months down the road. So, guys, tell me, do you think this professional league is going to make a difference, or is it going to hurt our now women's league that we have running in this country?
Well, for me, coming back from that experience, I think I'm going to speak broadly in the sense that for me, being in Sweden, I used to miss my family a lot. I used to miss my culture. The weather wasn't on my side. You know, there's simple things that made Trinidad beautiful that I missed, and all of those things were sacrifices to be outside there in order to pursue something that I love, right? And I think once the proposed league is on the correct path and continue to be there, then it will provide a better opportunity where it could be right home where players could be comfortable in their environment and to be able to still do what they love, you know. And I think this is what this league is going to provide for most players, for the locals, because
Right.
I wanted that because, I mean, I'm in Sweden for 9 months out of the year, and I miss my family a lot, and I miss the food, I miss everything about Trinidad. But when you're outside there, you know you're outside there for football, and you're outside there to elevate yourself to this beautiful game. Now, as I say, if this league here in Trinidad, the proposed professional league, is doing what it's supposed to do, then it will provide exactly that. So I think once it is done how it's supposed to run professionally, like all over the world, then I think it will provide that stability for players here, not having to venture outside.
It'd be nice for you because you're Trinidadian, you're playing at home, and compared to playing in Sweden
Yes.
and all of that. So but it also has to be a good league to
That's
play.
what I say, yeah. So that's what I say. Once the league runs like how it's supposed to run in a professional setting, then it will provide that stability for players right here.
Right.
As you say, rightfully, as you rightfully say, including myself, because that's what I always desire as a player, being outside there.
But do you think we have enough within our country? Do you think we have enough professional women players?
Do I think we have enough professional women players? Sorry.
Well, enough players that could be called a professional like yourself?
Well, yes,
And,
yes.
yes, because you
Yes,
don't want to.
no,
Yeah.
yes, because
They're that good. They have that ability.
no. When I look at this talent pool compared to what's out there, we're actually neck and neck with those players outside there. What's different is the hunger and the drive. You see, I think as Trinidadians, as a people first, we're too laid back.
Well, and that's the point. That's exactly the point.
We're too laid back. It's like we don't have that burning desire inside to really step out our comfort zone to get where we want. And that is what's setting us aside from really and truly those players outside there. They will do exactly what the coach asks, when the coach asks, what they will do it on point. We might question it.
But that was professionalism is. When you play, the only difference in a professional and an amateur is your discipline. You bring a
Yes.
game every night. You work hard. You have to be tough-minded, which we don't have in this country,
Yeah,
right?
that's the difference. Yeah.
So you think we can get that, the players? Do you think they have to probably go outside to get that, like yourself?
Yes, you have to go outside to get that.
You, Narada, what's your take on that?
Well, based on the proposed league, I think they probably saw that, and I guess that's why they're looking at having some foreign-based or foreign internationals here. I think we have the pool of talent. We don't have the pool. We have the pool of talent in terms of players, but I always differentiate a football player and an athlete. We don't have enough athletes in this country because as you said, the mindset, the attitude, the environment, it hasn't been there. So this league, it will take some time to grow. The environment has to be there so that everyone knows every whatever month it starts, Trinidad has a league for X period of time. So the players would know, okay, for example, an Aquila who, let's say her contract outside ends in August and the league is starting from September. She knows she could probably come home. Some of the Japanese players do it. They play in Sweden or Europe, and then they go back to Japan because their league is on a different time zone, a different time frame. So I believe the league is there to fill a gap. It's there because around the Caribbean, we don't have any professional football leagues. Some of the female players from probably islands like Jamaica, Barbados, Grenada, Guyana, wherever, if they're playing football at a high level, it could offer them an opportunity to play for a few months, just as the Pro League offers a lot of guys. We see now guys on the national Guyanese team and stuff actually playing their trade home, well, in Trinidad. For me, you know, as an agent, it's also an extra avenue for me, because now I could look at maybe some players in other foreign countries that we could use Trinidad during their break. Some of the leagues in South America, for example, they have a break during July and September. So now I could look at, if the league was around that time, bring in players here. But I think for it to start, and I believe the women with Akila's generation, I've always said it, is that it's a generation of players that have played together for about 10 years. The Akila Malone, the Meili, the Tasha St. Louis, all of these girls have been playing since they were like 15, 16, and now they're mid-20s, late 20s. What is going to happen when they reach over 30? We're going to miss an entire generation of players, because now the gap is so big that there's nothing to fill it. So what we have to do is sort of harness that talent pool, put them to be, displayed in the country at some level, once done right, so the younger players now could have something to look forward to. Because how many young players, if you ask them, do they know that Akila applied her trade for 6 years in Sweden? They may not know. If they see Akila in Trinidad, maybe for a period of 1 season, they will say, hey, this is the girl who played abroad, now she's here. They get all the information. That is why she's going around schools talking to young females, whether it be female schools, primary schools, or whatever. Because the information, as I constantly have been saying, Trinidad is missing a gap of role models. And we need these players to be on display, whether it be in a league or whatever, in Trinidad, to get the younger ones to come up to their standards so we could go on for the future.
Well, most of the times when you have a league, like a professional league, in a country, it's supposed to help the football in the country.
Exactly.
And I can't see how this professional league is going to help us as a country, our football as a country.
Yeah, I think
and,
one of the main things is it probably would be almost like the Pro League, in the sense that we had an amateur league that ran for a few years. And then we said, hey, we're playing catch-up. Let's make a Pro League without fixing to have the correct amateur league, And I don't know if we could say the Wolf League had got it right yet. We could say, yes, the Wolf League has been there. But we need to ensure that they got it right in order to do the professional league. Because then what would happen is that we're stopping at 5 and jumping to 10. But what about 6, 7, 8, 9, those steps? If we jump to 10, what we have to do is ensure that we support the other league to come up here. Because I have no problem if the league decides they want to have a league. Have a league. Just ensure that whatever you do, you let it come down to the bottom, so they could now see here what for the next 5 years we are going to be working at getting 3 or 4 players from our league up to the other league. And then we come down with the numbers of the foreign players until it's all there.
Other than bringing you home, which you want to be, you think it's going to help our girls get better? Because most times in other countries, they limit the amount of foreign players can play on the actual team, like 2 foreign players to the team. Here, I'm sure it's going to be wide open. So you think, other than coming home?
From a psychological point of view, I would think it would help players from a psychological point of view, because everybody wants to be associated with success.
Right.
So from secondary school, at least the players coming out of the secondary school football would have at least some sort of goal or ambition when it comes to the football, to at least have a good starting point. So psychologically, I would think that it will improve the whole psyche of the players in the school, primary school, secondary school system. But like as Narada rightfully said, now you just need to continue to build from there. But everything needs a starting point, right? And if this is how they want the starting point to be, then we just have to make sure we get it right and just build from there. But psychologically, I would think that it would be a good initiative to start in order to give hope. Everybody wants to be associated with hopes and dreams,
I've played in the U.S. and our league there was mediocre, and then they figure out, hey, we need to get a big player, a big drawing card, and they went and bring Pele and Beckenbauer and all these guys. Who is the player that we're going to go get to bring it to this league that could lift our league to?
Well, I'm assuming that, you know, if they bring in foreign players, they have to go for the best foreign players. That is, you know, I don't know who they will target, but I believe, you know, from reading some of the articles, I heard that they were going to use the national players as some of the standout players, which is a good look, because I think the country is still waiting to see if Akila Mullen is that good. We've been hearing about her, but no one has ever seen her game in Sweden. I did a promotion in Trotters some months back when the team played for about the four games that they played. You know, I did a promotion that during the halftime we did Mullen's halftime, where we were showing little games of Akila playing abroad and interviews and stuff like that. So for the 150 patrons that were there on those days, at least I could say maybe about 400 people in Trinidad know now what she does outside. But I think we need to, for the league, before the league starts, we need to start to push these things, games that the players have played abroad or with the national team, for people to get the hype about our local players being the franchise players or marquee players, whatever they want to call it. However, in Trinidad, we want, for us to jump onto anything, you have to bring names that would just blow people's mind. And they really would just have to go for the best. And what I'm hoping is that whoever they target has that time to be free to come here. Because you and I know in Trinidad, longevity, if it's not with a foreign or some celebrity, we're not going to back it for too long. We'll probably jump on it for a week or two and then that's it. And it may even be the problem with the Pro League, because the Pro League has never called a name that could come to Trinidad and say, David Beckham is going to play with Point Fortin or whatever team. If that happens, I could tell you, the teams would probably see fans every week there. So it has to be done for the women to get it right.
Okay, at this point, we need to take a break. Viewers, we'll be right back after this short break.
Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited offers solutions to your immediate and future potential problem areas by providing you with a qualified team of safety consultants. Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited, building a reputation on quality and value since 1999. Located 23 Todd Street, San Fernando, Trinidad. Phone 868-657-1534 or 868-788-6955. worldwidesafety@yahoo.com.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Field of Dreams. Before the break, we were discussing women football, and you were mainly talking about the new proposed professional team that's supposed to come into this country. But let's retract a little bit and talk about what you think about, Akila, about our youth program, the high schools, the game and the coaching and everything. Just give me a broad spectrum on what you think about school football and coaching.
Well, the little I know, I think that we have okay amount of certified coaches in Trinidad, but I don't think they're starting at a grassroots level, meaning I would really call primary school grassroots, because that's where it all starts. And I don't think, when we look at the primary school system, because I coached Londonville government to their first title when I stayed home for a couple of months, primary school. In the whole of Trinidad, Londonville government primary won the primary school football for female. And I mean, I had to pat myself on the shoulder is because they had someone in front of them that they could identify with, and then two, it had someone that was knowledgeable in the game in sense to know what needs to be instilled inside of them to be the best that they could be on the field. And here it is, the end result was they hold the trophy at the end of the season. Now, when you look at the primary school system, a lot of the coaches are teachers, you know, teachers who volunteer. I mean, there are some coaches that coach primary school that are actually coaches, but when you really look at it, it's really teachers, you know what I mean? And they're teaching the athletes or the soccer players or football players at a physical education level, not really a footballing knowledge level. And there we see the breakdown starts, and the breakdown starts there because now the foundation you're building there is not stable or not strong enough in which to build on. So now we had to play catch up when you reach secondary school, and secondary school is just about winning. You know, the quick fix it is how we could win trophies. I mean, everybody wants to win trophies and medals, but there's not much developmental taking place at the player at secondary school because the emphasis or the focus is really to win and to be there in the papers, jumping up and down, and so forth and so forth. So I think the breakdown starts mainly with the primary school system, and then it goes up, and then now we see the caliber of players that coming out of the secondary school system is not really there. Really and truly, when you look at the female players that really playing in the secondary school, that's just really excelling or scoring the goals, is really players that really being trained on the national team, under 17, under 15. So they are getting the developmental as a player from there.
Well, don't you think because they're the cream of the crop, they're national players?
Yeah.
And they're the cream of the crop.
Right.
So they're supposed to be doing what, you know, being the best at that.
Exactly. So what happens now to the next female player that is not chosen to represent the country? You see, now no focus is, okay, so for example, if I have me playing for Convent, and okay, Akila Mullins playing, she's doing well scoring. So the focus is on me, always on me, even with the coaches, and now the neglect is taking place with the other players because, hey, the success of the team is really riding on me.
I follow you, but it happens all the time. Eh? It always have the players as a cut above the player or couple players, a cut above the rest.
I agree with you 100%, but at the same time, if you really were to sit down with a Brazilian, a Spanish team, or say an Italian team, or you would see that their approach to the development of the women game or the male game is really holistically. It's not really on one player.
So how would you advise them how they should do it?
How they should do it?
Yeah.
Is the inclusion
locally.
Is the inclusion of everyone. I think when we look at the breakdown in football, it's really and truly, we identify a kid, yes, he's good, but we start spoiling him. Hey, Messi, that's not his name.
True.
Hey, Zidane, that's not his name. You know, so we start billing, or we break the player by doing that. You know what I mean? And you see a player, hey, Mata, you're like, that is not Mata. You know what I mean? And Mata or Messi did not gain superiority or the player that they are overnight. We never know how much time Messi for hours training in his backyard, or how much money the parents invest in him to really become the player that he is today. So I think that is where it breaks down, that we don't study holistically. As soon as we identify certain players, we just only bagwagon with them and we roll with them. And I think that is where, even now, I see a lot of pro league players, they go outside there on trials. And then next week, you see them back in a pro league game. So, and you know, say that he's the best in Trinidad? Best compared to what? You know what I mean? When you go outside, you know, you see what best is. Someone of them is going to shell. Because the false hope and dreams are defeating them here. They go outside and see the reality of it. They can't deal with the reality of it.
That's true. So Narada can tell us about that because he takes them out there and bring them back.
I think I've had one player return to me, so my track record isn't bad, right? My track record is probably 95%.
Okay.
However, with what Akila is saying, I think the breakdown, as she said, starts from the bottom because we are using people who aren't knowledgeable about football, and I guess in some case it's sort of physical education, because in Brazil they don't let anybody touch the field unless they are physical education certified at a certain age group. Because then you get to learn child psychology and all these things. So you can't be influencing a child with certain things, letting him know that he's superior to his peers at a very young age, because that does something to him and it does something to the others.
Yes.
So I am the number 2. You're actually only just behind that guy, but I am going to neglect you and the other teammates as though you all are the worst players on the face of the earth. When the reality is, from the age of up until about 13, you should not, 12, 13, you should not specify which position a player should play. And even up until the age of 10, you should not even specify what sport he's supposed to play. So you're supposed to let a child all the age, 6, 7, 8, go into football, go into running, cricket, just do all these other things, because it's just about developing his motor skills and cooperation, interaction with other kids. And then when you realize, okay, he really has a niche for football, we go into the 12, 13 where we specify, okay, he's fast, so let's put him on the wing. Let's try him as a striker. In Trinidad, we say if you're tall, go in the back. If he's big, put him in the goal. Whereas the European uses something else. Ask any kid, who was the goalkeeper? It's always the biggest guy who could take all the shots. That was the idea. Whereas that same big guy would be in Japan and he'd be considered a god at the sumo level. So it's a lot of things you have to look at. When we go on to the secondary schools, as she said, it's all about winning. So now the perks come, because now he doesn't have to do the homework. He could walk around the school without any teachers telling him anything, because now he's considered a god of the secondary school. And I have passed through all of that, and I have friends who've passed through it. And then we give him the hope of the SATs to go to the States on scholarship, or probably go into Pro League. But then again, as she said, we put them up so high that we don't do the correct work. And the correct approaches, which I take. If I have to sign young guys, you have to realize that you can't, because everyone is talking to him about one thing, you have to keep him on a certain path. When you sign them, you have to let them know, listen, at the end of the day, you have to start eating right from now. You have to start training on your own from now, because at 15, somebody else is doing it at that age, because he's in an environment where every day he's training, whether it be in Brazil, Spain, some guy from Russia, wherever it is in Trinidad. We don't have it. So what we have to do, we focus a lot on education. So these guys have to live it in school to an extent, and then also live the football outside of school. In Trinidad, our top coaches are actually coaching at secondary school right now. Some of the qualified coaches, we don't put them at primary. So at primary, you're at a disadvantage. At secondary, the demand is too high. So then what happens? We're going to see more falling by the wayside opposed to the set that are actually going to go forward. We have the reverse thinking.
My experience is totally different to you two. I'm telling you, because I probably was fortunate to be a resident of Point Fortin.
Cool.
And we had talent unbelievable from 1 to 20.
Fair enough.
And about the same level. And we went to different schools, primary schools, started in primary schools. 5 in this school and 5 in that school and 5 in that school. But when we got together and played for Sherlock Coles and all these teams, unbelievable talent. And we had to work hard to even make the team.
Yeah.
So I had totally different experience to what you guys saying. Well, just 1 or 2 players, not in my neighborhood.
But then who were some of the coaches at the lower level? Were they good coaches? Could you remember them being?
Again, back in the day, it probably was better, because they had a guy called Babsy Daniel, who the ministry hired to go around to the schools and do small little coaching.
Yeah.
But actually in the school, you're right, it was a teacher, the sports master or the phys ed teacher that was our coach. But at that age,
right,
we don't need
a specific.
we just need to go out and have fun, express ourselves, because I think we start too early sometimes. Because I think we need to let the kid go and
exactly.
play and develop the skill on his own, like the dribbling and stuff. Because once you start putting coaches there, pass, do it, and then you can't develop your skills.
But then at the primary school, wasn't a basketballer probably on the football team and the cricket team and all of that as well?
Yeah.
You could probably count out the 10 guys who were the sports guys, and they probably played overall.
We played everything.
Now we're separating them at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the conflict comes in for me, within my mind.
Right.
Is the sense that in Trinidad, when you look at the primary school, they're playing whole field. And that's on the 11, on the 12, I think, but they're playing whole field. Yeah. So basically, the kids now are being forced to learn the game faster in terms of their positioning and trying to master it at that age and apply pressure, because some of the coaches are so winning oriented that the kids now are under so much pressure, which really and truly at that age you're really supposed to be exploring, having fun, developing that love and passion for the game at that age. But now there's so much pressure and emphasis on the whole game. If you look at the Olympics, I think they even have a under 15. And when you look at the under 15, now you have to start learning. So if really and truly at 11 and 10, 11, 12, you're not really supposed to be structured, position and everything, then when are you going to then look to teach the players these things when at under 15 they're already asking you to play the Olympics on a whole field executing it?
Well, when I say not structured, again, at that age, at 11, 12, you should be able to play your game without any barriers, without anybody telling you to pass and pass and pass and pass. When you need to develop your heading, your trapping, your dribbling skills, and all these skills. And we get that in the elementary school. But all I'm saying is that there's a balance. There's a balance in, right about 12, 13 years old, I think that's the time we could make that happen. But there's a balance. You know what? Let's take a break at this point. Viewers, we'll be right back after this short break and we will continue this conversation.
Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited offers solutions to your immediate and future potential problem areas by providing you with a qualified team of safety consultants. Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited, building a reputation on quality and value since 1999. Located 23 Todd Street, San Fernando, Trinidad. Phone 868-657-1534 or 868-788-6955. worldwidesafety@yahoo.com.
No matter what team you support,
Manchester United strike first!
you will always remember that one year when they were invincible,
Benito!
unstoppable,
United again!
dominant.
Lampard and Chelsea level!
And as the new season arrives,
And again!
you will ask yourself that one question.
They're best in the Champions League!
Can this be our year?
Horse? Seriously? Man, you're not even in the Champions League.
So just because you have a striker actually scoring goals now, you feel you could talk?
Yes.
Guys. This argument makes no sense because the man going to take it this way.
Is unconfined. Some things are just meant to be.
Welcome back, viewers, to Field of Dreams. Again, this is Axe Television Network, and we're discussing football, and we were talking about elementary schools and how, at what age we think we should let the kids play, and at what age we should structurally put a structured format for them to join the game. But let me take this a little further. For you two, who are your favorite player locally and internationally? And then we can also talk about coaches as well.
Okay, my favorite player growing up, Spain, Rahul. I really liked Rahul. I mean, I saw him score some kind of goals at some angles. It was just, I used to just be in front of the TV staring because he would produce some kind of goals. It's just amazing. He would pop up in areas and just execute plays, and I don't know, I just loved him a lot. Rahul for Spain, Real Madrid.
Who you compare locally with Rahul?
Good question. Rahul, actually Plaza, Willis
Plaza?
Plaza, yeah. I've seen Plaza score some or produce some goals that reminds me of him a little bit. You wouldn't think he would pull off those goals, but he did. And I think that's what have Central FC at times in the position that they are right now, because he was able to execute those kind of plays like Rahul did and make things happen in front of the goal. So I really liked Rahul, just his mentality for the goal. He was just, but my favorite player now, I'm a big Chelsea fan. Chelsea is my team. Congrats to them on the EPL championship, but Williams, I think he's fit, from Brazil, William. He works the line inside out, up, down. I mean, sometimes I want to know if he's an energizer battery. He just keeps going and going, and he just never seems to be out of breath, and he just makes this game seem fun, even though at times it's hard work. And it is hard work, but he just make it seem like it's just effortless, and sometimes you want that from a player.
I noticed you're only mentioning male players. So what about women?
What about female?
Yeah.
Actually, although I mean, I'm a female, I play in the female game and everything. But when I associate who I would like to be or who I would want female players to even propel to be, it's more, I guess, leaning towards the male side of the game. Really and truly, because when you look at a professional game on TV or whatever, and you look at a female game, yes, it's attractive and everything, but I mean, the male game looks like just is a game of chess.
Yep, but the male is better, you know. But
Right,
who is your favorite woman international player and local player? Like there's a lot of good ones in the U.S. I loved watching the. I would turn off the men game to watch the women U.S. national team.
And you see, then it's the opposite for me. I would turn off a female game to watch the male. That's what I was trying to explain.
Right, I understand.
So, I mean, my favorite female player, I would say right now was
international.
international.
I don't want to put you on the spot for local, but international.
No, my favorite international female player is, if I have a look at one, it would have to be Swedish national team captain. She plays in the midfield. It's a funny name she has, but she's pretty good. The captain, you will see her for the World Cup. She's really good. She controls the game good. She has good vision. She runs off the ball really good. She's good. I think they just won the Champions League yesterday. I think she plays in France now, and they won the European Championship.
Okay.
And I think she was like the driving force also. Domestically, I would have to say is a younger player. She's actually my very good friend now. The Debisat sisters from South, the younger one. I see myself in her, meaning the skill level is there, and I want to associate myself there because of what I have achieved and what she could surpass to achieve. So domestically, I'll put it on a younger player that is good because of what her future could hold if she stays in the women game like I did.
Okay.
Well, I guess for me, Akila made it lengthy, but for me it's very easy. There's a reason I signed Akila onto us, and I think internationally I'll have to say Akila Malone because it's the only player I would put my head on a block for to go out there and do something. She knows, and we've had numerous calls from clubs across the world, top clubs, and they will always ask me for players, and right away I could click and say Akila Malone because I know if she goes out there and she has to do the trial or whatever they ask for, she is going to close the deal. And younger players, I did actually have an opportunity to work for a year in women's football in Trinidad, so I will use the local for a younger player because I coached at Sky Football Academy and I actually coached at Holy Name at a point in time. There's a young girl, I think she's on the national under 15 team by the name of Renee Ward. When Renee was at Sky, most of the guys at Sky would start at like 4 or 5 years old. She was there 8, 9 when I was coaching for a year, and she was playing amongst the young guys. So when I went recently to their other practice game, I think against the under 15 or under 17, I saw her on the national team. And I didn't see her play, but I could tell you from knowing that she's been there around the guys for about 5 to 6 years, she was fighting up with them for a long time. So if she's on a national women's team, there's a reason she was chosen, and I think she's probably somebody to look forward to. Because I look at quite a few players, but they always have to be well-rounded, go to good schools, have education in the bag, family support, playing on the national team and looking at football as a career. Akila is one. We also have Lauren Hutchinson signed with us. That is a reason she's there. And I think Renee Ward in the future is something to look at.
So, Akila, what do you think is your strength and your weaknesses, if you have any?
No, I have plenty. But
So
I think my strength is I'm not very religious. I'm very spiritual. I think my strength is my spirituality, where I know with God all things are possible. So I think the source of who I am comes from that, and I think what God has showed me or continues to show me over the years is to be humble, to know that in His time and everything is going to happen. So I think my strength is when I come to trusting God, I know to remain humble in that He's going to provide no matter what. So I think at times when I was weary in Sweden and things weren't happening, in the sense that, you know, as I say, you know, you miss home, you miss your family. It's not easy. Training used to be at night when temperature drop even more, sometimes 8 o'clock in the night, temperature drop -10, and you had to make things happen, you know. So I didn't give up, because I know with God that was going to continue to open doors for me. So I think my strength is my humility, to know that I need to maintain that spirituality with what I have within me. And I think one of my challenges is sometimes wanting to move too fast, you know, wanting things to happen too fast. And as I say, that is what God is showing me right now, to be humble and know that His time is everything. So I need to take it down a little bit sometime and know that everything will happen in its perfect timing.
what do you think is her strength and weakness? I want to focus on her because this was supposed to be about women's football.
Yeah. To be honest, I've worked with her for over a year now. The biggest downfall we had was probably after the women's game. She had a little breakdown, right? And you know, there was something somewhat psychological. And it's strange because, as I said in one article, I said she's a psychology major, you know, but I guess it is exactly what she's saying. She wants things to happen. In her mind, it was play in Sweden, come back to Trinidad, go to the World Cup, think about my career, if I'm supposed to continue or not. When that didn't happen, it just broke her.
So what is her strength?
Her strength is her resilience, on and off the field. The fact that you're in a country cold, on the field, nothing is stopping Akila. She's the smallest person on the field, and yet still they come in with the tackles and whatever. She jumps over, she skips past, she's going to score the goal. And she's been doing it in Sweden every game. Every game I'm online there, and she's in the back, playing left back or right back, and Akila is scoring 13, 14 goals a season. That is crazy.
What's her weakness?
Psychology, mental. With it not happening her way, that's it. But it has to happen. If she says it has to happen, it will happen. And if it doesn't, that is the weakness there.
Well, Akila, I think your strength from seeing you play with the work and your weakness is the same, your speed. Why did I say your speed is your strength and weakness? I think you can use your speed better. And your strength is your speed because you can go. You can use it better in the sense that you don't always have to go flat out all the time. And I think there's times I see you can stop, put defenders to rest, and then go again, because they hate, trust me, defenders hate stopping and then have to go again. And if they play a ball out in the open for you and you can get to it before the defenders, sometimes you need to let them think they can get it before you. And then when you get them committed, then you can accelerate and go, you know? So I feel there's a parts of the game that you can work on to make yourself better, and we all can. And I'm just giving you this as advice, and anytime you want, you can call me up. You get as much advice in your game as possible, because that's what I'm here for. To the viewers, I want to thank you guys for allowing us into your homes and to bring the show to you. I want to thank you, the panel, Narada and Akila, for joining us to talk about women's football. I want to thank Axe Television Network for giving us the opportunity to be in the homes of our viewers. And I also want to thank all my friends who had contacted me on Facebook. I've got a list of you guys. Daryl Marcel, Lisa Ali, John David Johnson, Marvin McLean, Roy Khan, and Aubrey David. And one more, Jeff Austin. Thank you guys so much for dropping us a line on our Facebook page or our email. Remember, you can always check us out on our Facebook or our email. Our email address is fieldofdreamstt@gmail.com. At this point, I've got to say good night, and thank you for watching. Good night.